Hi everyone, this is Himanshu Sehgal from Octavus, and I'm here with our latest edition of Insights Corner. Uh, so last month's and this month's Insight Corner would, are very overlapping. Uh, the reason is because last month we covered obesity as therapy area. But this month we decided that GLP-1 and GIPs specifically, I'm not talking about all incretin hormones basically. I'm only speaking about or only talking about GLP-1s and GIPs basically in this Insight Corner. So this month we will be covering, the evolving role of GLP-1 GIPs basically, how they are shaping up the market, whether it is obesity, type 2 diabetes, or even beyond that. So that f- and yeah, this is going to be our take on the market. Feel free to reach us for any additional information. We'll be happy to provide you with more data, more intelligence, and happy to talk more about GLP-1s. Sorry, GLP-1s and GIPs basically. Now moving ahead, uh, uh, yeah. So a basic introduction. GLP-1s are glycagon-like peptides. Basically, these mimic the hormones which are produced in our body, right? And they presently are being used to treat uh, disorders, diseases like type 2 diabetes and obesity. But there are obviously beyond applications beyond that. Now, if you see that, we've tried to show where all, GLP-1s have, and then when I say GLP, I'm including both GLP-1 and GIPs basically. So to avoid any, mispronunciations and all, I'll be using the standard term of GLP-1 basically from on now on. So, when we talk about uh, brain, uh, the secretion and the effects of GLP-1, in memory, it decreases the food intake. It, increases or over stimulates the memory. In pancreas, basically, again, insulin level decrease and glucagon decrease. Again, muscles, again, glucose uptake increases. So more, metabolism, or sorry, a more utilization of glucose in our muscles basically. uh, right, in bones, GIPs have a role, which is bone remodeling, but GLPs do not prominently have any effect, and so on and so forth. Now, talking more about, what's the difference between both. So, GLP-1s are, as I said, glucagon-like peptides. One, they are incretin hormones. Crucial role. They play a crucial role in uh, glucose metabolism, whereas glucose-dependent insulinotropic polypeptide, another, they are also incretin hormones basically, but these are, they enhance the in insulin secretion in response to the nutrition. So when we take in the food, based on that, they have their secretions basically. So that's a overall basic difference. Now we have enlisted some of the approved drugs. So some of the famous ones are obviously Ozempic, Mounjaro, Zepbound, Saxenda, Wegovy. So Wegovy, Ozempic, semaglutide, whereas Mounjaro and Zepbound have the same molecule again. Rest, again, Victoza, Saxenda, and yeah, Victoza and Saxenda again both have same molecule. So again, these are approved molecules, which are GLP-1s and GIPs basically. Now moving ahead, let's take a deep stab at what epidemiology looks like for, and again, these are like pretty much repeated numbers or pretty much same numbers when we discussed last month when we talk about obesity. So key factors are patent is expiring, generic competition, which is driving the growth of this market. Um, Applications of these molecules beyond diabetes and obesity. So again, diabetes is considered to be a disease which hampers other bodily functions. So it leads to cardiovascular, kidney, obesity, and couple of other disorders also. So hence the application of GLP-1s and the same class of drugs is beyond uh, diabetes and obesity, right? There is a lot of new formulations and delivery methods are being explored. There are a lot of companies exploring the method of scaling up and cost reduction. So when I talk about scaling up, Novo Nordisk, last year in 2024 specifically, if I talk about, they were facing a lot of trouble because the demand was high and they were not able to supply Ozempic and Wegovy at that level. So hence, obviously, they are looking into innovative solutions to scale up the manufacturing. So obviously, that is also something which is a market factor, a key factor. Then obviously, public awareness or patient engagement, brand positioning, all these points are also playing a very big role in the adoption of these molecules, right? Now, when we talk about obesity obviously year on year it is increasing. In 2010, man were 215 uh, m- uh, million were suffering from obesity, but in men, which is approximately doubling down, actually more than double uh, in 2030. Within 20 years, it's a double growth basically. So it's highly prevalent going on. Same goes for women. Same 309 to 643, which is a little more than double. So obviously, obesity prevalence rate is increasing, or I would say it's doubling. And then obviously we can see 115% growth 2010 to 30. So that's that. Then type 2 diabetes, which is something which we did not discuss in the obesity last month. But here, again, the numbers are increasing every year. I will not go every year on a year how much number is increasing, but we can very clearly say, see by 2050, the number is going to be 853 million people suffering from type 2 diabetes, and India is becoming a obesity and type 2 diabetes market hub, because with a lot of patients being identified in type 2 diabetes basically, and then obviously obesity as well. And obviously these lead to long-term diseases as well. Now, uh, a journal or an overall market look, if we talk about, I'll be very brief on this slide, and I'll try to, because these are very specific numbers. So we have taken these numbers from secondary sources, from, couple of market research reports. These are not our analysis basically, right? But we have tried to make it consistent, use same source for both GLP-1s and GAIPs basically. Right. So by 2034, the market is going to be $268 billion for GLP-1 and $2.8 billion for GIP. So combined is approximately 270 odd $1 billion market. Right. Whereas, in terms of, if I talk about region wise, North America is the biggest market, followed by Europe and Europe. Yeah. So and then obviously Asia Pacific. Then moving ahead, we want to talk about you and you can relate to it that we just spoke about the key factors, right? And what the first factor was the patent expiry, right? So here it is. Like we have taken these numbers specifically from the SEC filings, right, and of individual companies. But yes, the number speaks for itself. Sorry, the dates are there. Obviously, there are a lot of specific locations where patent might have expired. There must be generics which are coming across. Like I'll give you an example. In India, uh, semaglutides basically patent is expired, and a lot of Indian pharma companies have even just won litigation also in terms of getting the generics approved for this, basically, right? Now, here's the number, and you can see what uh, it entails, basically, right? If I talk about specific numbers or specific dates, if I say Zoltopi, again, Novo Nordisk, uh, Japan, it is already expired. US is 29, and so on and so forth. Like we have taken just the top ones, but there are other more. As per the Orange Book, Ozempic's 2 mg and 3 mg, 4 mg are going to expire by 2033, and 8 mg is going to be has the life till 2038. But again, these numbers are not really the representation of actuality. The reason is because uh, uh, these are being challenged on different platforms and different places. Now, moving on from this slide. So these are some, we try to cover recent regulatory news which are going to impact on the global GLP-1 market. So first news, which is the most recent one, released on 3rd of December, was that FDA import alert, basically, foreign sourced GLP-1 bulk drugs uh, will be will have more inspections or more scrutiny. The reason is of uh, um, adulteration, basically, and but and this is going to create a shortage of approximately 20% across, right? Then WHO, a very important regulatory update, which is actually one of the key drivers, which is going to be one of the key drivers in the future. In the previous slides, key factors or key drivers, when we discussed, it was which were the key drivers, but this news, WHO news, is going to be the futuristic key driver. The reason is they have released the guideline. They have considered GLP-1 as a medicine, the use of GLP-1 in obesity. The first important factor, which I said last time also, and I'm emphasizing this time also, obesity specifically was never considered or previously was not considered as a disease or as a disorder. It was considered more of a lifestyle problem, and hence was not covered in insurance, and obviously it was not part of guidelines like WHO and other bodies, basically. But now, uh, after obesity being considered as a disease, disorder, or a not a high lifestyle problem, very specifically, if I say, um, WHO has considered and added GLP-1 therapies in their guidelines also, and which is obviously a boost for the manufacturers or the developers of these drugs, because now um, maybe in future these drugs would be considered by WHO to be included in their formulary programs. The programs WHO run in low, medium, low and middle income countries also. So obviously that's going to be the driving factor, and obviously this would also help in develop this drug in the more affordable manner, right? So yeah, that's that. Again, another September 5th was that WHO updates the list of essential medicines and includes key cancer and diabetes treatment. And again, they have included GLP-1s like Sema, Dula, and Lira. Right. And then again, a little older one is FDA clarifies its policy on the compounds as national GLP-1 supply is down. So obviously they came up with the policy where they are defining the role of GLP-1s and then how they are going to include it in the formulary, and their prescription patterns. And again, it has everything to do with it is being considered the disease being sorry, the obesity like a problem being considered as a disease or a disorder basically, right? Now, so this I want to take a moment and then talk about I've read these news for you, but the important, very important factor uh, when we are talking about these regulatory policies is they are going to drive the future of GLP-1 molecules, and in which you will see in next coming slides that how this landscape is evolving. And here we have just taken up the news of GLP-1s, but then there are GLP-2s, then there are other incretin hormones also which are being in development. So overall, if we talk about this market is exploding, and there are a lot of people, a lot of companies exploring this industry or sorry, this domain specifically, and this segment. So these regulatory policies actually show the future trend of future uptake. And in our previous slide, we spoke about some of the market share and obviously the predictions. But I feel the predictions are not right. The reason is because it's going to be higher than this for sure. Yes, GLP, how big the GLP share is going to be, that is still a question, and I'll answer that also in couple of slides. But one thing is for sure, obesity, type 2 diabetes market, a metabolic disorder market basically is booming, and then there are a lot of players who are coming up. And at the moment, GLP-1 remains at the center of this whole landscape development. Now, moving on from this, now we talk about approved drugs. Obviously, Novo Nordisk dominates the space at the moment, and obviously it is important to say because this company has been betting big on metabolic disorders like type 2 diabetes, obesity for a very long time. When others were not thinking about this space, they were thinking about this space. They were the first one to introduce their molecules in obesity, do a lot of lobbying, advocacy, and so on and so forth. So obviously they are reaping the benefits of that. But Eli Lilly is not far behind. Lilly is closing the gap with a lot of new drugs, innovations, and all. So, which obviously we'll talk about in a couple of other slides. But yes, now the journey kind of initiated in 2010 January, where Victoza, which is liraglutide, got approved in type 2 diabetes, which was the first GLP-1, got approved, followed by Trulicity, again T2D with CKD, Saxeda, another brand name, different brand name for liraglutide basically, and obviously change of formulation, but for obesity. First again, liraglutide was approved uh, in obesity basically for the first time in 2014. Now you can read about other molecules also, but I want to take you ahead of time and talk about Wegovy, which actually were, in 2021, after 2021, basically, which made a lot of big noise about being used in MASH. So semaglutide actually made a lot of noise and difference basically, and it's a once weekly injection, or yeah. And then obesity with CBD. Now it is approved in MASH. We have written MASH here because it is approved, but now it is approved in MASH recently. But in 2021, it got approved in obesity, right? Same goes for Manjaro. Soon after, within a year, Manjaro or Eli Lilly basically made trends in type 2 diabetes, and then they launched 2023. They launched with different brand name, basically the Manjaro with different brand name in obesity, and OSA with obesity. Uh, Obesity, sleep apnea, basically obstructive sleep apnea with obesity. Right. And the recent approval from Innovent, which is very recently, July 2025. Right. Now, and then it was only in China. But yes, they are working on a global trial as well. If now, before we deep dive into the obesity landscape, which is going to take the majority of our time here, but very quickly, I want to show you that how this is, growing over the time. This is year wise, and there are like uh, industry sponsors intervention studies basically. 2020 we have 24 trials, then 20 it was 20 active trials basically, and then it has increased over the years, which you can see. So by 20, there were a couple of molecules which got approved. We had Zepbound and all that. Zepbound and Manjaro and semaglutide Wegovy being assessed in obesity and all. So there was a dip in active trials basically, but then it started picking up from the success. From very next year, the trial number started picking up, and which very clearly shows that it's a growing trend. Now, when we talk about 2025, it seems like the number is 50 or it is decreasing, but this is taken, late November, basically, if you say. Uh, so number could go higher also, like at least equal to 54, right? Same again, status-wise, we have written phase 3, phase 2. So we have 54 trials right now, which are active trials. Not active trials, basically. Total cumulative trials, phase 3 trials from all the data 2022 to 2020 to 2025, basically. And in terms of distribution, very clearly can be observed. If we talk about North America overall, highest 64, followed by I think Asia. Again, Asia, China, and India are the key drivers here, and we have only taken only active trials, right? Now, this is something where I want to, take a little moment and give you uh, and talk about this basically. So, first and foremost, I want to say that this is not an exhaustive landscape. The reason is we cannot include everything here, but yeah, this is a decent coverage which shows you a lot of detail about GLP-1s, GLP GIP combination, GLP GCG combination, GLP-1 and insulin combination, something like we have approved. I don't remember the brand name. Yeah. And then we have a tri-specific GLP-1s also, and then GLP-1 with amylin. Then we have standalone GIPs also. I think GIPs are very small in number. I could only see 2 or 3 molecules max. One is Entac Therapeutics phase 1, and another one is Pfizer's 016 PF 016, which is phase 2, and it is an oral basically. Right. Now, if we see the overall trend, there are many GLP-1s. So orange, represent the GLP-1s basically. So there are a lot of GLP-1s. Because we have already spoken about approved ones, we have not included in this slide. We have just taken the clinical segment basically of this. Now, if you see this, it's very interesting to see. There is one section of T1D and T2D. There are a lot of molecules, like if I'm not wrong, 50 molecules right now, which are being included in type for phase 1 to phase 3 basically. There are a couple of repeated ones also which you see, like BGM 0504, which could be from bright gene, which could be something which is being assessed in T1D and T2D also, or both in T2D with different patient population, which could be T2D plus CVD, or T2D with kidney disorder or something like that, right? So or pediatrics or something of those combinations basically. Then second number of molecules which I see is the dual GLP-1 and GIPs, which are more in the maroon color, right? And I see so many molecules. Phase 3 very densely, uh, uh, very dense number of molecules and segments basically, which shows that we are going to see a floodgate being open in next 2 to 3 years. A short term is 2 to 3 years. There's going to be a flood of molecules being released. And again, this is not exhaustive. If we go into the exhaustive one, probably there are more molecules, in the pipeline, right? So that's the scenario. Then now we have looked into type 2 diabetes and type 1 diabetes, but let's look on the obesity and overweight side. You'll see a lot of common molecules there in the type 1 T2D diabetes section and obesity section, because there are common molecules. These molecules are either approved um, in type 2 diabetes, but being also assessed, or are in clinical stage, but also being assessed in obesity separately, irrespective of the diabetes or not, and in combination to diabetes or also, right? So these two are pretty straightforward, and we have been reading about it for a long time, about the GLP ones. But the peculiar, and then something which is of my interest, or something which I wanted to discuss a little more here, is these two sections basically, the others and the cardiovasculars, right? So you see that there are a lot of phase 3 molecules which are cardiovascular, and then these are some which are irrespective of uh, GLP-1s being in diabetes basically. So irrespective if diabetes is there, or T2D is there, irrespective of obesity, if the patient is obese but has a cardiovascular problem, if the patient is not obese, doesn't have a type 2 diabetes, but being you GLP-1s are being used, or being assessed for their cardiovascular issues, which could include myocardial infarction, your CHFs, and of others basically, right? Um, then another interesting area where they being used is, or being assessed, not used actually, but being assessed, is others. And when I say others, we have included MASH, obstructive sleep apnea, CLBP, uh, osteoarthritis, knee pain basically, Alzheimer's disease, alcohol use disorder, and alcohol associated liver diseases. NASH, MASH we have spoken about, but there is NASH also, NAFLD also, which is both non-alcoholic liver diseases basically, right? So the point, what I'm trying to make here is that there is a huge, the GLP-1s are taking over the world by storm, because they have a huge application, which you have seen in our first or second slide basically, where they are working in pancreas, they're working in bone, they're working in brain, they are working other places. So the applications are huge. Obviously, companies are there to assess these molecules which we are talking about are not approved. There are smaller companies. There are big players are partnering who are partnering with uh, smaller players. There is a lot of development or work done by Chinese, Japanese, Asia specific countries, companies basically, and which other companies are, global companies are tapping to it basically. And this is kind of a trend which we have seen in other places also. Now, another important, and this is something which I got to know yesterday only, while I was just preparing for today's recording. I actually got to know very interestingly that there is sorry about this. So there is this company um, uh, which is and again I'm not going to take the name because it's not relevant here. Uh, they are assessing a GLP-1 molecule for obese animals. Specifically, they are assessing a GLP-1 molecule in cats. Obesity in cats is something which is being assessed. So beyond humans. So GLP-1s are going beyond humans and being assessed in animals also. So again, the market is wide open for GLP-1s. Now, moving on, and Go One company, which is we thought of obviously we were thinking about doing firstly Novo Nordisk, but because we covered Novo Nordisk in the obesity last month, so we thought let's go with Eli Lilly. So Eli Lilly, Indiana-based company, uh, overall $45 billion revenue of 2024. Right. 2025 is bigger than that for sure. Till quarter three, I think they've already made, they've already crossed beyond, what they've made in 25, 24 basically. Right. Now, if we talk about the focus area, Eli Lilly is what we call it as a as a global player, and that shows from their pipeline. You know, oh no, not sorry, pipeline approved product molecules actually. So I'm sorry about that. Approved molecules. They have product in diabetes. They have product in dermatology, oncology, autoimmune. Um, I don't know why we have not taken oncology, but oncology is a big portfolio. They have one big portfolio. Now, in last 6 months, we've seen the trend in last 6 months of from the press releases basically, and then we have obviously focused on the metabolic disorders, but every single month, obesity. Sorry, Eli Lilly has some update from some trial, and they are very active. If you talk about their upcoming molecules like Orpho, or you talk about their already approved like TIDs, uh, that they're releasing data basically. Like for example, phase 3 results from Achieve 2 from Orpho. Then very recently, I mean, it's just in the quarter two basically, they have what three within September. They I think they presented this data in September somewhere, I believe, from Surpass, Achieve 3, and Attain 1. These are all again studies for Orpho and TIRS. Yeah, and then this is something which can be seen here. They have achieved a lot of results, and uh, I think yeah for okay, in July they released the results from Surpass CVOT study, and which shows cardiovascular benefits in type 2 patients basically, and they were planning to submit it with the regulatory authorities by 2025 end, which I believe they have already might have already done that. Right. So this shows that how active the company is. We have spoken about patents previously, so not going to talk about that. But now, phase three pipeline, if we talk about, so they have RET, Orpho, and TIRS. All TIRS is obviously approved. your Zipbound and Mounjaro basically. But they have indications like CVOT with type 2 diabetes is there, which is phase 3. Uh, Orpho is being assessed in obesity slash type 2 diabetes, irrespective of type 2 diabetes basically. Obstructive sleep apnea. Uh, and then Rita, again GLP-1 only. Right, Rita is CV renal outcome, um, uh, irrespective of type 2 diabetes, basically, and so on and so forth, right? Now, um, we obviously profile the product also. Uh, it's pretty uh, decent product, growing every year multifold. I'll not talk about what's the frequency dose because this is something which is already known, well established, but something very interesting, very peculiar, uh, which we can talk about here uh, is about the sales basically, right? Uh, 2023 uh, sales were 560 in quarter one. Basically, it was 569, which became three times compared to 2024 quarter one. And if you compare quarter one 2024 versus the quarter one of 2025, basically, again, it's a little more than double, basically. So, first quarter, you can see it's doubling down, basically, right? And even if you see last quarters also. So last quarter, we are still waiting for 2025, but for 24 and 23, if we see again, nearly the double. Quarter three went really well, I believe, because comparing, it is going again beyond double. Quarter threes, which is 1409, 13, 31, 13, and then 65, 15. So obviously, this shows that the growth has been tremendous for this molecule. There are a lot of advocacy groups which are working for Manjaro and Zipbound. That is World Diabetes Foundation, Obesity Care Advocacy Network, American Diabetes Association. They have recommended this drug and are obviously considered as a standard of care. There are a lot of key opinion leaders who are speaking about these drugs. We focused MSKCC basically on MSKCC, and you can see top five names basically from there. And now, another very important update about Manjaro is that it recently got approved in India. India, again, I've said it enough that India is a bigger market, very big market in terms of obesity, type 2 diabetes. So they have recently launched it in India and then they're doing really good. I was recently seeing the numbers and they are fantastic uh, for Zepbound or Manjaro basically. I think compared to Novo Nordisk, they are doing better in India. Right, obviously. So moving ahead, now we wanted to talk about some generics which are again these are all GLP-1 generics. Uh, so Amneal has launched the generic of Bita. Bita as an innovative molecule, it has been discontinued, but Amneal is selling its generic version basically, right? Then for liraglutide, we have four, five molecules. Hmm. We have Teva, we have Lupin, Hikma, and then these are all US basically. So US approved. So we have taken it from the ANDA approvals from US FDA. Now, very importantly, something which is always special about us is we look into deals a lot. That's kind of in our DNA to see the data in deals. So we have gone 5 years back and assessed the deals, how what has happened in terms of deals, and 22, 2020 to 23, very slow years, very simple, nothing happened. But 24 was a big leap from 3 to 20 deals. And I'll tell you the reason behind it is because again 20 and 21 were the years where Manjaro came into the picture, got approved, and so on and so forth. Then uh, and this, all the data coincides with each other. If you see, then from 2020 21, basically the number of trials got increasing. That also. So basically, a lot of companies started to prove the concept. Plus, market was watching, or bigger giants, or even smaller companies were started to observe the players who are developing these molecules, and then yeah, and then 20 deals, and then again these deals are very comprehensive in terms of deal type wise. Basically, this data we have taken it from deal forma, and in 25 till October, it's 19 deals. Very recently, I think a couple of more deals happened in November. So obviously the number is going to go beyond 20 for sure. It has already gone beyond 20 actually. So yeah. Now in terms of deal type, biggest share goes to development and commercializing licensing deals, basically, right? And which is being followed by contract services, and so yeah, if I talk about uh, there are more licensing deals, basically, licensing development deals. And if we see, a very big chunk of deals have gone to platform and discovery. So basically, now companies are betting big on the early stage platform discovery deals, or platform and discovery level products, which has to do with the AI model developed solutions, or products, basically. So it has to do with that also. But very interesting fact is that uh, in terms of stage wise, uh, phase 3 have 5 deals, which is, I feel, which is a very decent number, right? So yeah, these are very important deals. These are not exhaustive for the reason because there are a couple of deals like um, clinical trial agreements where one company is utilizing another molecule, and they have that deal which you have seen. We've seen a lot of those kind of deals in oncology specifically, but here also. So we have not included those kind of deals. So hence this is non-exhaustive, but the point is that those which matter a lot in terms of the market growth, that is something which we have captured for sure here, right? If you need this data, feel free to reach us. We'll be more than happy to share it with you, and work with you to analyze this data in more depth. So these are those deals from January to 19 deals, January to October 25. These are those deals, and you can see a very big deal like Metsera Pfizer deal, right? Uh, you know, what, $10 billion deal, very big. Then we have, you know, one, two, three, four, five. Five deals which are $2 billion and above, basically. 2 billion to $2.5 billion, right? Deals, and these are all development and licensing deals, basically. Right. So again, companies are betting big. If you see a trend, Novo Nordisk, I feels like you know bigger player, right? And followed by Eli Lilly. Obviously, they are earning from it, so they are spending on it, basically. And good RX, and Teladoc, they have a lot of supply chain, and those kind of deals have been included here. So these companies have made strides in terms of contract deals, basically. Now, moving ahead, we also looked into, again, very peculiar about us is that we look into deals and fundings a lot, basically, as to show the market drivers, and we expertise in that data, basically. So again, this data is taken from Deal Forma, but if we look into the funding in last 5 years, and we've just used an IPO. as an indicator, but there are Series A. I mean, so we looked into those numbers, and these are huge numbers. Series A, B, C, um, and different other types of basically. I'm jumbling up with the names. Uh, Total 13 companies have done their IPO in last 5 years. Biggest IPO was $1.9 billion, approximately $2 billion, basically, right? 2024 saw obviously a very big number with in terms of number of companies plus the IPO which they have generated. 25 is not that far behind. Again, this number is I think till October only. Yeah, not think it's till October only. So hence maybe there might be one or two more companies who. So even if it is not at par, I would say still a decent number in terms of companies becoming, coming for an IPO. Right, and then we have company-wise IPOs, which are the biggest one is Septerna, and then followed by Metsera, which is now acquired by Pfizer also. So you can see that they have recently done an IPO, and then obviously they got acquired. They did an IPO of $316 million, and then they got acquired for about $10 billion. So all the shareholders and people who have invested in this, they've earned a lot basically, right? Moving on, these are the same details basically. Over the 5 years, small group of companies and biotechs have done, raising up to anything between 10 million to $300 million, and biggest one I've already told you, Septora, right? These are pharma-backed ventures also have invested in these companies, and the investments or the IPOs were the success because of their clinical advancements for sure, right? So that's the reason. There are a couple of companies who are Chinese in their origin, but they have done their IPOs in US. So yeah, that is also a case. And not Chinese, I would say. Again, I don't want to label them. They are more Asian companies basically, and they have done their IPOs and yeah. So this is all over the places from 21 to 25. Moving ahead, there are various, upcoming milestone till 2030. Again, we cannot or we could not include all of them, but the major ones are, and some of them you might have seen. We are reiterating here some of them, which are from obesity, basically. So, CagriSema, you could see a filing in the first quarter of 2026 based on redefined studies, redefined two study, basically, right? And from hemicretin, phase 3 is planned for weight management, basically, and so on and so forth. Then these are like the Novo Nordisk, and then we have smaller companies like Brightgene, BMG0504, um, planning to launch. I mean, they are expected to launch their molecule in type 2 diabetes and obesity in 2027. So, which you have seen already uh, in the landscape, basically, that they phase 3 molecules. This is a phase 3 molecule, right? Moving ahead, some of them we have already discussed last time, but there are bigger players like Novo Nordisk, Lilly, BI, Roche, Amgen in the picture, right? Now there are a lot of these advancements and then milestones. We have explained the previous milestones here, right? So Eli Lilly, if I talk about Orpho, uh, data readout from Achieve 4 in quarter one, and 26, within 26 they will uh, 26 they will file, basically, sorry, I was stuck, file in 2026, and uh, they might have already done regulatory filing in 2025 also, which I was just telling you about. We have in the tables we have given the results which they have recently presented. So Achieve 2 and Achieve 5 primary endpoints were met, and they have shown these results. which doses have shown what's how much success versus dapagliflozin basically, right? And then we talk about Viking Therapeutics molecule milestone. If we talk about readout from Vanquish 1 in 27, and subsequent approval expecting in 2028 to 29, and then complete the Vanquish 2 study in quarter one basically, and the enrollment. Then we have where we will have our results. Then Innovent Biologics, Mesdutide, uh, results from their Glory 2 were recently presented. When we talk about milestone, um, it's going to be, you know, this is Glory 2 is a registration study, so we will definitely see more updated results in upcoming conferences and then subsequent, filing also. Right, and then Novo Nordisk, we've just spoken. Phase 3 program is planned for type 2 diabetes in 2026, and that's it. Now, market trends. I think we are. This big video has become a little longer, so I'll touch base upon a couple of things which you can read in the slides. You can always ask us to deliver the slides to you and read from these slides. So these are market trends. Therapy wise, GLP-1s are being dominated in type 2 diabetes and obesity for sure. But other markets or other indications are growing. No, not just got an approval in MASH for GLP molecules. Bigger players like Lilly, Boehringer, Novo Nordisk, Amgen are obviously, and Roche assessing their hands in the space. Pfizer recently done deal Metsphere. No, sorry, Metsera. All right. Then the market is going bigger. Another very important trend which I want to highlight here, and then not talk about anything else on this slide: auto injectors. So Yepsomed and Sidekick Health. Obviously, there are other players also for auto injectors, but these companies, smart auto injectors, are being adopted by a lot of companies, and the share prices and the couple of other things have shown an indication that a lot of companies are adopting for auto injectors, because nearly a lot of, if you go back on the landscape, you will see there are a lot of subcutaneous circles. In the circles we have mentioned them, so there is a lot of subcutaneous formulation. Obviously there are oral ones also, but GLP-1s presently are in SCs, subcutaneous, and subcuts, and yeah, that's the reason a lot of companies don't want to oralize them basically, and go with the auto injector kind of a function. Then we have Hims and Hers kind of company who are digital health platforms and all. So for insurance of Ozempic and all that. Now, very importantly, SWOT analysis. Um, Again, you guys can read from it. I'll just talk about the top things basically. Strength, obviously, broader horizon is the strength for GLP-1s. So here we have spoken about only the mechanism of action basically. SWOT analysis has been done for GLP-1s altogether. Now, strong, they have gotten a strong endorsement from WHO, FDA, and other advocacy groups like American ADAs basically. Then in terms of weaknesses, their costs are high. There is a lot of safety concern. I'll specifically talk about a lot of safety concerns, and just very recently, TGA, Australian regulatory body, released a statement basically, and then they have focused on they have given guidelines about the safety concerns. I'll just speak about two safety concerns which are being published. Uh, the class wide safety concerns. One is related to mental health. So depression and these tend to affect on your mental health being basically. These GLP ones as a side effect, and another one is pregnancy caution. And again, the pregnancy caution has been um class wide. So if you're pregnant, you should stop, and you should not take GLP-1s. Or if you are planning for the uh, for the extension of your family, basically, then in that case again, uh, um, you should avoid that, right? Then a strength I would also speak about again, uh, that very cute news, which was about uh, obesity in cats, GLP-1 being assessed. So yeah, that's those are strengths and weaknesses in terms of opportunity. Obviously, outside indications, beyond metabolic also, and within even metabolic, there are various indications like CKD, NFLD, NASH, MASH, all those. Then there are opportunities like FDCs, fixed dose combinations, dual and agonist being developed, and so on and so forth. And then in terms of threats, GLPs, if we talk about the major market, which is obesity and type 2 diabetes, they are facing a lot of competition from other MOAs also. Uh, and then again, which we have discussed in our last month's update. Moving ahead. We have covered these lot of conferences this year, and there are a lot of conferences planned for next year also, right? So don't believe that only uh, eh, the 4 or 5 names which we have given in the investor conference, these are the only organizations where these the companies who are developing GLP-1s are presenting. But this is just symbolic to show that bigger investors have shown interest in GLP-1 molecules. A special highlight to Steffel. The reason is I have seen a lot of their investments in GLP-1 molecule companies. So while I was assessing it, there would be more. Again, I'm not saying that they are the only one. I'm just saying they. I have observed that this is something they are doubling back on it. Right. There are other conferences. There are growing conferences also, like Australasia Diabetes Congress, GLP-1 based. So, one specific conference is GLP-1 conference based therapeutic summit, basically. This is going to be the second summit, or this was the second summit and then third summit, something like that, in 2026. We have Obesity Week, right? And moving on. This is a planner which we have tried to show. The reason is we wanted to show here on the top, you can see GLP-1 based therapeutic summit, and this is 2026 planner basically. We have already started to build on that, and you can see Alzheimer's and Parkinson's being the first ones basically. So again, it is um, putting a confidence in what I was saying, that GLP-1s are going beyond, the obesity metabolic disorder space basically. MASLD, NASLD, NASLD, NAFLD, sorry, NAFLD, MASH, and NASH, and all that. Right. So yeah, if someone needs need this uh, this planner for GLP-1 therapeutics, feel free to reach out to us. Our contact details will be at the end, and then you can reach out to me specifically, and then I'll be happy to share this with you. Now, front runners. Again, there is one name which you might feel is missing, but that name is just them not probably presenting it at this conference, but they are obviously big, which is Novo Nordisk. But you can see a lot of big players like Novartis, Astra, Regen, Sanofi are presenting at this conference basically. These are frontrunners based on and then again, one thing could be that Novo Nordisk has not published or submitted their for the conference. The conference is in April, so obviously there would be a lot of lead breaking sessions and all also. So this is based on the present planner. Futuristic planner, probably this word cloud would probably change. Now, I'll not take much time. I'll just sum it up. I have been saying about this. Market opportunities are bigger for all incretin hormones, but GLP and GIPs and the dual agonists are obviously going very big. Uh, they have they have a lot of opportunity in non-metabolic disorders. Plus, within the metabolic disorders, they have big space, and then they are catering to that audience. Manufacturing scale up and all that is also a very big issue. So shout out for to all those companies who are developing um, solutions for the companies who are developing GLP-1s. So like companies like who are developing filling machines, like Optima and all others, they have a lot of space to go for, right? There are a lot of companies, CDMOs, basically. So yeah, feel free to reach us if you are looking for strategic insights in the GLP-1 powerhouse space, basically, right? And moving on. So yeah, this is pretty much about us. Oh, sorry, about the GLP-1 space. This is us. I'm leading the team here, and we would be more than happy if you want to reach out to us. Um, Talk about GLP-1s or obesity space or type 2 diabetes space or other metabolic disorders, we'll be more than happy to work with you and provide you with our with intelligence and support. So stay tuned for the next update from for next you know so we are also planning to revamp our this inside corner. We have been seeing a lot of we have received a lot of inputs from people on LinkedIn and on our email, and based on that, we are redesigning, revamping our insights corner for from January onwards. So yeah, I mean, stay tuned and share your feedback. Feel free to reach us for all this information. Right. So thank you so much. It was lovely. And we look forward to receiving feedback, requests, and happy to share the deck also with you. Thank you. Bye bye.